Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk to you about my new love for the 22 long rifle round. Here it is. Just like everyone else who started shooting, they were shooting one of these. I was a kid going out to my dad's hunting lodge in Delaware County, New York. We were my dad was probably one of the few people in New York City who owned guns. I wasn't a cop or a crook because he was a hunter. So he joined a hunting club. He'd go upstate every winter, do some hunting. But during the summer, they would go up there to do maintenance on the place. And when they got done fixing the place up and maintaining it, or getting ready for the winter or summarizing it, we go out and we set up some targets, and they all go shoot their rifles and sight it in. They bring out their scopes. They set them up. But my dad would bring me, they'd bring the kids, and we would shoot 22s all day. Whether it's from the Ruger 1022, the Marlin Papoose. Whatever 22s we got our hands on, that's what we shot. This little baby here. Now, 20 years ago when I became a gun owner, I saw this as, the starter round, the kid round. I was in law enforcement, I had no more interest in this. Now, I wanted 57 Magnum, I wanted 45s, I wanted 38 Specials. And back when I started, ammo was cheap, Governor Pataki was my governor of New York, so we didn't have the threat of the SAFE Act like we do now. Bush was becoming president, so it was good. Ammo was cheap then. The assault weapons ban ended, and life was good. But then, Pataki left, we got Cuomo, Obama became president, and next thing you know, a couple school shootings, our rights are in jeopardy, panic buying started happening everywhere, and prices of ammo went up everywhere. Now I remember a story of one of my trainers told me, Ben DeWolf from on-site firearms training. He himself went up to get some training from in a Super Dave Harrington class. Spent the weekend there. I won't forget, he told me he went up there with 2,000 rounds of 45 ammo, and he came back from that weekend with no ammo. And he was like, I learned so much, I had so much fun, but oh my God, I came back with 2,000 rounds less than I went up there with. And let's face it, even when prices are good, shooting a 45 gets expensive. I mean, here's an example. This is a classic Walmart buy right now. It's a 200 round 9mm pack for $37.86, which is cheap. I've been using this for years. I never had any trouble with this ammo. This is good stuff. But if you want to buy in 40, it goes up to $55.24, and 45 is $65.34. So think about that. 1,000 rounds, or 2,000 rounds, times $65 it's about $700 when it comes with taxes and everything. So you imagine shooting $700 in ammo away in a weekend. Not great. It's a Super Dave Harrington class. You're enhancing your skills, which is very important, but still. Not to say that $7 ain't worth your life, because it definitely is, but we're all on budgets here. If you're a working family man, who could afford to fire away $700 in 45 ammo? Now, this is not an ammo debate or caliber. I'm not into those anymore. Carry what you want, shoot what you want. Just be good with what you carry. That's all I care about now. Because after seeing those FBI gel tests, it doesn't really matter which caliber you carry more. Now, a lot of people are going to make the arguments, well, it doesn't tell the whole story. Well, this is why I believe the FBI test. In my line of work, I've gotten to talk to a whole bunch of emergency room operating surgeons and anesthesiologist counterparts, and I've talked to quite a few coroners, and I've asked them all the same question, and I've gotten the same pretty much consistent answer. Which handgun calibers do the most damage? And they tell me all the time, they can't tell. It all looks the same to them. In fact, I'll tell you, the only way to know what caliber is, if the bullet's still in them, and they can retrieve it, then they can see what bullet did the damage. But they'll tell you a lot of times, they can't retrieve the bullet. Or sometimes it's better to leave it in there. Like Ronald Reagan, everyone forgets it. When Ronald Reagan was shot with a .22, they never took it out, they left it in there. And it was in there till he passed away. So, what's my point? Well, it costs money to keep a skill like this sharp. Now, my friend Ben, after that, he began shooting 9mm because it was cheaper. I mean, like I said, $37.86 as opposed to $65.34. You're talking almost $700 with tax as opposed to just over $200 for 1,000 rounds of 9. $40 for 2,000 rounds. That's still a difference of $200. That's a lot of money saved there. I mean, he went to the 9mm the same reason why I went to the 9mm from 40. If you followed my videos, I'm a revolver guy. I started my career shooting revolver, and I quickly learned that it was much better and much cheaper to shoot 38 specials over 357 magnums. Because one, you shoot magnums in a snub nose all day, it hurts your hand real fast, and two, 38 you can shoot all day, and they were cheap to shoot. Now, were they cheap like 22s? No, but it still makes a big difference. Years later, when I got into semi-automatics, I decided to go with a 40. This is before we had the advancement in bullet technology. So I went with the 40, but still, like I said, $55.24 for 2,000 rounds. Let's see. Well, for 1,000 rounds, it was $265 without tax. So 2,000 rounds would be, let's see, $550 before tax. So you look at $600 as opposed to just under $4 for 9mm with tax included. But I was loyal to the 40. I carried it. Over the years, I saved up and I stored 15,000 rounds of 40 caliber ammo. And think about how much money that is. That's a lot of money. But 2 years ago, I found out that my department was switching over to 9mm. I already owned 9mm Glocks. I was happy about that, so I stopped buying 40, started buying 9s. Every time I shot off 40s just to get rid of it, I bought 9s to replace it. Now I have a nice, wonderful large stash of 9mm, but still, if you're a family man and you're the lone breadwinner like I am, even though 9mm is plentiful, even though 9mm is pretty much the cheapest of the main handgun calibers to buy, it still adds up after a while. Now, I go to a class myself, a training class, and it's like, you go through 600 rounds, that's still $120 right there, assuming I buy this from Walmart. That adds up after a while. Let me tell you, and during that Obama years, it was tough. So I figured, what can I do? And years ago, I started doing what I'm still doing now, even though prices are low on ammo again. I started shooting 22s. Even though the price of the 22 went through the roof and it was hard to get. I mean, getting this at Walmart years ago before the panic buy was like $19.95 for 550 rounds. I remember spending, when it began, $37 for 500 rounds of this stuff. Then when it really got out of control, this stuff I bought the other day, which is now down to about, let's see, how much did I pay for it? This was going for like $65, $70 at Walmart, at other stores, if you could find it. This was hard to find. But now that we've come out, the Trump effect has taken effect. I just bought this the other day for $21.95, which is almost what it was before the boom. It was $19.85, $21.85. Hey, listen, I could live with $21.95. 555 rounds. I never took my rights for granted before, during, or after the panic buy between the GW years, the Obama years, and now the Trump years. But what I took for granted was I thought 22 would be always cheap, and it is again now. But I took it for granted. I remember you used to go to Walmart, you used to do, yeah, I'll take something, do one of these things, throw in your shopping cart and pay for it. This became tough to get and very expensive. But even despite the rise in price, this is still the way to go because it was so cheap to shoot. And because I owned the Glock, I had one of these things here. An Advantage Arms conversion kits. Now I bought these back when they first came out. I paid $150 for the Glock 17, $150 for the Glock 19, and $200 for the Glock 26. The Glock 26 is always high in demand. People love them, so that's why there was more. But to keep my skill sharp, I go to the range. Even now, even after the boom, even though prices are low again, these are dirt cheap. What do I do to keep up my skills? I use these Advantage Arms kits. I fire about 200 rounds of 22. And then after that, I'll take that off, put my regular slide back out, and shoot 50 rounds of 9mm. And shooting 22s has made me a better 9mm shooter because I'm shooting more. Listen, I'm all for dry firing. Dry firing is great. It helps. But there's nothing like shooting rounds down range. Now, people will make the argument, well, this is much lighter on your Glock, and it is. It's aluminum. You can't make a steel one because the 22 does not have enough power to cycle easy. So, yeah, it is lighter. There's hardly any recoil, but still, you get practice with your trigger. You become better with your trigger, and it's made me a better shooter. So every time I go to range, I shoot about 200 rounds of 22 in a box of 50, which is fine because, you know, again, we're all on the budget here. Days of going to the range and just throwing away 200 rounds or 250 rounds of 9mm, it's tough because it's hard to replenish. Not because it's not cheap, but because, like I said, we're all on budgets now. You know, when I was single, it wasn't an issue, but even when I was single, it was like, man, I spent all that time, all that money, get a good stash, and I just blew away 200 rounds. I had to go replace it. Listen, when you go shoot 200 rounds of 22 long rifle, you don't care. Now, it was one of those things where if you only go shoot a box of 50, well, then you spent more time shooting, going to and from the range. You did shooting. If you spend too much on ammo, you feel guilty about having to go out and buy more ammo. So, this was a great compromise. Shooting 200 rounds of 22s, not care because it's dirt cheap now. And a box of 50, which could be easily replaced at Walmart for $10 now. Same thing with my AR. You know, 5.56 ammo is hard to get. Very expensive. Same thing with 223. You pick up something like this, you know, a Ruger 1522 shoots 22s. This runs exactly like my AR-15 does, my real one does. So I go, I shoot 200 rounds of this, you know, shoot one mag of 30 rounds of 5.56, and it was a heck of a, it was easier on the wallet in the pocketbook to shoot that way than it was to shoot all 9mm, all 5.56, especially during the panic buy era there. So, what am I saying? I took this for granted. I took the 22 long rifle for granted. I looked at it the wrong way. I looked at it as the kids around. I looked at it as a for people who cannot handle big calibers. But now, after going through those miserable years with Obama and the price of ammo, I can tell you, I am more in love with 22 now than I was when I first started shooting as a kid. It made me a better 9mm shooter. It made me a better AR-15 shooter. So never again will I take this stuff for granted. I now buy as much 22s as I possibly can. Now, years ago, I would keep about 3,000 rounds handy, which is pretty decent. Now I keep about 20,000. Because this is why I primarily shoot at the range now. I use 22s for practice. When I go to training class, and I'll use the real ammo. But I'm fine with using real ammo at a training class because you're training. 22s for practice. 9mm 5.56 for the real stuff or whatever you want to carry. But this is why I think the 22 long rifle is an awesome round. It has now become my favorite round to shoot because, one, they're plentiful, it's dirt cheap, it doesn't leave a big hole in your wallet, it's fun, and like I said, it made me a better AR-15 shooter, and it made me a better Glock 9mm shooter. So let me know what you think. What do you guys think about the 22 long rifle? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. But I'm urging everyone, just because it's cheap again, don't take it for granted. Stock up. Keep plenty of 22s handy because you just don't know in life. I mean, it's not the most ideal self-defense round either. But when you have nothing, this will do. Alright folks, let me know what you think. We'll see you next video. Protect your loved ones. Practice hard. Because if you don't do it, no one else will do it for you. Take care. Stay blessed. We'll talk to you later.